Hi ASL family. Happy New Year. 2020 is finally over. 2021 has started. Yay! I don't know how last year was for you, but I am looking forward to this year. And as I promised, I'm doing an About Me video as well as a Q&A. So I'm going to start with the Q&A because I didn't actually get any questions about sign language, but I wanted to include some. Now, as I think that I should probably be doing more videos like that. So, of course, I Googled frequently asked questions about sign language and ASL. So I'm just going to be answering some of those. And hey, if you were wondering this, or if you have more questions, feel free to comment below if I missed something. I'm not an authority on this, but I have learned some things in college, as you would hope, and I would hope. So I will do my best. But feel free to look this up on your own time if you didn't like my answer. Or correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure that some people will, because they already have. Well, just one person, but I know it's coming. So, let's get to that. Alright, the number one question I found is ASL like English on the hands? The simple answer to that is no. The real answer to that is, what do you mean? If you mean ASL, as in actually American Sign Language, then no, it's not English on the hand. I'll explain that in a second. If you mean ASL and you just mean sign language and that's what you're calling it, but you're actually thinking of sign language as a whole, then yes, SEE is English on the hands. It is signing exact English, like I just did. And then there's also PSE, which is ASL signs with English grammar. There's also a couple more variations that are more probably regional or specific to, I would say, the kind of sign language you're doing. My sign language on this channel is, as you know, mostly songs, which is different than speaking. And there's also ASL poetry, which is also different. So ASL itself, as the kind of the parent, I should say, language, is very symbolic. There's joke in sign language that this is how you say dragon in English. Spell it. This is how you say dragon in ASL. So you show it, right? The whole principle of ASL is basically show, don't tell. You know, the more you can show me what you mean, the more ASL it is. And if you've been watching my videos for a long time, you've noticed that I shifted more from signing the exact words to signing pictures because I got further in my classes and I learned how to do that. And it's also just practice. The more you sign, the more comfortable you will feel with doing it in pictures. You know, because new signers, of course, want exact signs so they don't make a mistake. As you grow in confidence and improve in your knowledge and vocabulary, you have the freedom to experiment. And it may also honestly depend on the person you're talking to. So ASL is, in ASL, in English we would say, I walked, to the store, and I'd spell it. In sign language you say, I walked store, or store, I walked. You probably would use a classifier. Oh, and classifiers are also much more ASL than they are English. Now, sign exact English would basically be this. You know, the boy and the girl walked uphill, right? So I have to show each word I did. Boy and is an English sign. You will never see and in ASL. Girl walked, I have to show walked, and then instead of saying uphill like this, I literally say up plus hill. That's English, basically. And PSE, Pidgin Sign Language, is basically sign language as it exists to make it easier for deaf students going to hearing schools and for hearing people trying to communicate with deaf people, because the grammar is the same as English, which is to say the order is the same. So in sign language, normally you're supposed to actually say in ASL, you know, like the cow is brown, eating the grass green, like in Spanish or French or Italian. And in Pidgin Sign Language, you're just going to do all that the way you would say it in English. The brown cow eats the green grass. And basically Pidgin Sign Language is just, it's also just more like English general with how you say things, where you'll tend to rely more on the English sign if you don't know the ASL. Then you'll try to show it with ASL because it's supposed to be easier for hearing people. Some deaf people do not like that fact, but it is what it is, and there's really no way to get around it while you're still learning ASL. You will just naturally sign PSC, and you will learn with time to sign more ASL. But honestly, most of the deaf people I know sign PSC anyway, and plenty of more mainstream, culturally involved deaf people sign PSC. So I think it's not that important to know ASL grammar in the working world, but in the study of the language it is. I hope that answers that question if you were wondering. Okay, another question, is there only one sign language? I think I just answered this by saying there's 3 different kinds just in America. But there's actually more than that. There's French Sign Language, the one that American Sign Language is actually from, French. There's British Sign Language, or BSL, and which is the most notable difference is they have the letters on their fingertips. We spell them. Can you imagine how hard it would be to remember A, B, C, D, E, or A, E, I, O, U, sorry. Oh gosh. I'm so glad I'm not British. At least when it comes to sign language. French is much more like ours. And there's also probably, I would say, hundreds of small sign language dialects throughout the world, but they wouldn't be classified. I'm trying to think what the sign for organized is. It's not coming to me. But they wouldn't be called official sign languages because they would probably just be regional for like the deaf people in the area. But there are several like official ones pretty much in all the Western, educated world. There's official, but it's very hard to learn it if you don't live there. I've tried to like look up other sign languages, and Spanish is like the only one I can find here. See, and I wanted to like maybe learn Japanese sign language because that looked pretty fun to me, but I will never find a Japanese sign language class in my country unless a Japanese person is teaching it to other Japanese people. You just won't find it because there's no demand. There's no one who wants it enough to find it, but you know, we'll see. Maybe I can like find it online. You know, who would watch a video in Japanese sign language on this channel? I don't know. Spanish would be easier. Okay. So, another question, how can I learn ASL? Well, the way I learned ASL was I started with books. Those are not very good, but they can get you started on basic vocabulary. And then I switched to videos. Those are good, but it still covers mostly vocabulary. It might get you to a conversational level for a beginner. And then after several years, I moved to college. That's where I really began to learn ASL. I did learn a little bit from watching music videos, but not a lot, which is kind of ironic because that's what I'm doing here. But I also do try to give you guys videos to help you learn sign language. You can learn it from my videos if you watch enough of them to like see the repeated signs, or you read my description below where I will explain kind of what I did, give you like a few of the signs, and then I will close caption it. So you will you'll learn a little bit, but you will not become fluent by watching my videos. Sorry. But I am happy to answer any more questions about it that you have. I think that's probably enough Q&A for now. Let's move on to the About Me. Okay, so starting with the questions that I got. Who is my celebrity crush? Well, I hate to tell you, I really don't have one. I never have really been the type. But if you want to know who I think is pretty cute, I do like Chris Pratt, especially in that movie Passengers. The guy does not get enough credit for being able to play serious people. So I guess that answers that question. Alright, let's see.